Hello, hello, hello. It's Julia. How are you? What am I doing? I was trying to adjust my camera, but it's not playing ball today. Anyways, I hope that you can see me all right. If you can see me and you can hear me okay, let me know. Today's video is all about what's it all about? It's all about how to get to your first million quicker. I completely lost my train of thought then. So, this is something that might annoy some of you. It's so simple, but equally it's worth discussing because it's so straightforward. And one thing I want to remind you is that millionaires think differently and they act differently. So, and I don't mean necessarily in terms of money, I mean in all aspects of life. And the one thing that I've observed with my clients who have hit that millionaire status is that they act really quickly on new ideas. So whenever and this is a little bit of a side note, whenever I put an offer out, I always give a really short time frame because I know that the clients who will get results are the clients who will take action quickly. And so I deliberately set out a smaller time frame because I want to work with those people. I like working with action takers. Action takers get results. I've seen it time and time and time again. And because millionaires think differently and act differently, they don't sit and ponder and overthink and ask 16 questions before they take an action. They get an idea and they implement it. Whatever happens. Now the idea could completely bomb, but that's all right. And for some reason my phone is telling me, sorry guys, that the battery is low, even though it's plugged in and charging. So hopefully it'll behave itself. Sorry about that. So because I know from experience that millionaires act and think differently, when I put an offer out, I deliberately give it a short time frame. Those of you who are on my mailing list, you'll know that. You'll see, hello Jenny, you'll see that I'll put an offer out and I'll say you need to act on it by Friday, by 3 days time, by whatever. Because that is my way of kind of separating people who will get results from people who won't get results. And you might get annoyed with me, but if you are an overthinker, it will take you a lot longer to get to your first million than if you are an implementer. There is no such thing as running a risk-free business. You have to take the risk. Implement the thing, whether it works or it doesn't work, is really not the issue. The issue is in taking the action. So how to close the gap between you and your first million is to think differently and to take a different action. For example, if you're a coach and you've always built sales funnels, like coaches are obsessed with sales funnels. Let's just get that one out there. The amount of times people will ask me, what's your funnel look like? It's like we have this obsession with setting up sales funnels. And so the natural inclination is if you're a coach and you want to make your first million, you're going to set up a different sales funnel because that's what we've been taught. When it might be that you have to look at where the gap is and create what I call a quick and dirty offer and put that offer out there and say, this offer is for this kind of people, jump on it or not, without all of the things that you usually do. Different action that will help you close the gap. Another example is I have a friend who's a sound engineer. Traditionally, sound engineers they go to the event, they do the mixing, they do the recording, they do the engineering. And time again, he's a sound engineer mainly for churches and he does Christian events and things like that. Churches would ask him, could you come and train up our, in-house, the people who deal with the mics and the audio and things like that at church. And so he put some programs together and he would go in and he would train the sound desk team in various churches, added a whole new income stream to his business. Still now he has an established training arm of his business. Millionaires think differently. If you are a florist, it might be that you add a training arm to your business. Instead of just selling the flowers, yes, you can get so far in doing the work, but you might want to bring in teams of people and say, okay, let's have a do your own wedding bouquet workshop. When I ran my event company, I started with a luxury wedding and event company. And for months, people would ask me, do you do wedding planning courses? Do you do wedding planning courses? And I didn't. And then when I started thinking differently and taking a different action and offering those classes and training courses, a whole new income stream was added to an already six-figure business. Millionaires think differently. They take a different action. If you want to close the gap, do something different. And that's why at the start I said, this might sound really simple and it will annoy you, but it's so simple, it's often overlooked. Take a look at your whole business. And if you think that getting to your million is a matter of scaling what you already do, that is a recipe for not getting to your first million. Because oftentimes the gap between where you are now and that seven figures, and I've seen this time and time with clients, is to add something that you think is the craziest idea to add to your business. Because in that gap is where the magic happens, is where the finance comes, is where people go, actually, this is the service that I've been wanting all the time. So you're saying, Julia, that's easy for you to say, but how do I know what to offer? Take a look at the last 10 questions that you've received. For me, when I did this the first time around, I think I went through 6 months of people asking me, do you offer wedding planning courses? And said no every time. My friend, who's a sound engineer, went through churches asking him, will you come and train my in-house team? Will you come and train my in-house team? I've seen this with clients who've sold everything from jewelry to hair products to skincare to gift baskets, you name it. When they've created something different, something outside of what they would usually do, that is when they've really, really revved up their income and changed the game. And I want to especially say this for my Christian women entrepreneurs. We seem to think that the making of the money and the Christianity are these two, I want to say diametrically opposed, but I might be using that word wrong, opposed places. Like we can't want the money and we can't want to serve God at the same time, when really that's not the truth. Because I am sure that if we look back on it, we will notice that even throughout the Bible, wealthy people worked in the church. And I'm not going to give you a whole Bible theology wealth lesson today. That's for another video. But the thing is, let us look at what the money that we will bring in will do in our lives, in the lives of those around us. Then look at the action that we can take and then take the action. So I hope that makes sense. You guys know my videos aren't very long. The easiest way to close the gap between where you are now and your first million is to take a different action. Look, if you already run a business, look back at your last 10 questions. The last program that you sold, ask people why they didn't buy. It might be something as simple as, well, I didn't think it didn't have this element, and so I didn't think it could help me, and people didn't buy it. So then you go back and you include that missing element and you approach those people again, and you'll see that they will pick it up. If you don't already have a business, look at how what you're doing now can be monetized differently. Your same skill set, the same things that you're doing now, how can it be monetized differently? That's what you need to be asking yourself. How can I monetize this gift differently? And as you ask that question, you will see that the answer will come. If you have any questions about anything that I've said on this video, feel free, as you guys have been doing, drop me a message. And some of you have been asking about working with me one-to-one. So I've been talking a lot about my retreat coming up in September. If you want to work with me one-to-one outside of the retreat, then go to my website and look at the private coaching page, and there are options on there for one-to-one work. And then drop me a line if you have any questions. So your main thing to do after you stop watching this video is to look at what you're currently doing and ask yourself, how can I monetize this differently? That is it for today. See you on the next video.